It's a bad idea, a really, really bad idea, but one that the Trudeau Liberals can't seem to stay away from. I'm talking about regulating speech on the internet. They've talked about it before. If you remember back to the pre-pandemic days, all the way back to the end of January, there was a report out on the future of Canada's electronic communications, fancy way of talking about the internet, broadcasting, and all of that. The report had several recommendations on regulating media, and then Justin Trudeau's Heritage Minister, Stephen Guilbeault, while talking about this report on CTV's Question Period, actually mused about licensing websites that provided any type of news. It was an astonishingly horrible idea, one that eventually he had to walk away from. I mean, don't we have freedom of speech in this country? Yes, it's covered under Section 2. Freedom of expression. That includes freedom of speech, freedom of media, all kinds of freedom of communication. So why would the government have to go out and start regulating news websites on the internet? Can you imagine them doing that with newspapers? It wouldn't fly. Governments would simply allow ones that they like and ban ones they don't like. That's not how we do things here in Canada. And while Justin Trudeau would likely ban me, would my competitors who are friendlier to the Trudeau Liberals be happy if Stephen Harper had this sort of power? No. So they wisely walked it back then. But now, Mark Garrettson, in a question in the House of Commons to Liberal Cabinet Minister Dominic LeBlanc, actually started talking about it again, using the pandemic and the infodemic that comes with it, with all the bad information that's out there, as an excuse to try and say we need to regulate more of what is posted online so that people get the right information. Would that be the right information that the government put out saying travel bans don't work and we shouldn't close our borders or stop flights? Would that be the bad information that the government told us, well, it was wrong to wear masks and we shouldn't do it? Would that be the bad information put out by the World Health Organization saying there's no human-to-human transmission of the coronavirus? Because those are all examples of fake news. This is an ongoing problem with the Liberals. During the campaign, they told the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress that they wanted to regulate hateful speech on the internet. Look, we already have well-defined hate speech laws. You may think that hate speech laws go too far, but there is a very high bar for that. Banning hateful speech on the internet, meaning it could be something you just disagree with, it's far less defined, would be incredibly problematic in a free and democratic country. But they talked about it again. During the election campaign, Justin Trudeau dismissed a story from Global News that he didn't like as misinformation on the internet. That was something that was put forward by his health minister in the middle of this pandemic, talking about China's flawed reporting of numbers. The government regularly attacks news it doesn't like as misinformation or conspiracy theories on the internet. Do we really want to be giving them the power to regulate what is posted online? If that were the case, we wouldn't have discussions about whether wearing masks was actually good during the pandemic, or whether banning flights and closing the borders was a good idea. There was so much that we wouldn't be discussing. Having the government regulate what is put online is a bad idea. We have clear laws for taking down illegal content and hateful content, and those laws are very limited and very well defined. Anything that goes beyond that, regardless of what they claim it's for, protecting democracy, ensuring we only get right information, any of that is a step too far, and one that the Liberals should not walk away from, but run away from.